makeup on and ready to go.
Well, I wasn't planning on doing that today, but that'll be fine. Okay, so yeah, pull it out. Let's check it. Make sure.
I know it, you had to like press it in order to close the case.
Oh,
So I don't know if the case is too small or the horn's too big, but one of the two.
sometimes you have to angle it in and. Okay, and so you know to put the mouthpiece on. You set it and turn it quarter turn.
I never like the turn just because I'm afraid it's gonna get stuck. But
I know, but with the horn, you're gonna spin it to get the condensation and water out. It's very clicky, isn't it?
yeah, I wonder if I should grab my oil for my.
And there's no pinky key. Oh, it is. Your pinky was just on it. Okay, so let's just talk parts of the horn really quick. So it's in the key of F, and we play music that is in the key of F generally, unless you're transposing. The big slides on the outside are the F side.
Would this be considered the tuning slide?
No, that's the third valve slide.
Okay.
The ones on the back, these.
Oh.
Okay, these ones on the back here, that's the B flat side of the horn. This is a double horn.
Should I be worried about that?
No, I'm just telling you how it works.
Okay.
So this is a tuning slide for. There's a bunch of tuning slides. The ones on the back and this little guy are your main tuning slides.
Okay.
So this one being closest to the lead pipe is the main tuning slide. And then we think of this as the. Let me see how this horn works. One of these is the B flat tuning slide, and one of them is the F side tuning slide. But this one's the main one.
Now, is this like a kind of a proper position, or I know trumpet you usually want to have it a little bit closer, as far as.
It looks fine, but
Okay.
it depends on, you know.
I'm sure, I suppose.
How you play. It depends on how you play. Yeah. Okay, so how you hold the thing. Right, thumb buttons on the buttons.
Now, do you want to like shove it like that? Do you want to do that, or?
Okay, so turn your hand this way and cup your hand so that you could hold a little bit of water, not so much, more flat fingers. Okay, and then dump the water out. And the horn's going to sit right here.
Ah. Okay.
Okay, so let me see. Not so far. You don't want to cover so much. It's going to be on this side. Yeah.
Okay.
And the idea is they came up with this so that you could hand stop and go this way.
Because the French horn doesn't have any mutes, does it?
Oh, yes.
Oh, it does?
Yes.
Okay. How would you hold it to get muted?
Oh, well, you just.
Would you just kind of like rest your arm underneath
See
there?
if I have any mutes. I think I just have. Oh, I have. This is a mute. I thought I just had practice mutes in here, but here's a regular mute. I just put your thumb on the mute. So
Gotcha.
Most of them have strings, and I lent this to somebody, and she dented it all to. So sad. Okay, so hand. Oh, you're flatter than that. Yep. And then dump. And right here on the edge.
Okay.
Okay? Yeah.
Yep.
And then up to the mouth. So one of the tricky things with the horn is that it's very asymmetrical. And so you get a lot of people trying to bring the horn straight and then bringing your head over here. But you really want to bring your horn, you want to straighten your shoulders, square up, and bring the horn to you. Okay. Yeah? Okay. Another thing I always have trouble with is my sleeve. It absorbs sound. So I always, it just bothers me. I always shove my sleeve up because it won't bother everybody, but it bothers me.
I'll have to experiment with that.
Yeah. Okay, so a regular thing to make a buzz, mouth over the mouthpiece first. And then bring your lips inside the mouthpiece without making a buzz. And this time we're going to slowly bring your lips together until it does buzz. that, but this time we're going to do it really loud. And so you're pushing as much air as you possibly can through. Something you're going to find that's a little different about the horn, and this is one of the reasons I try not to play trumpet very much, is it messes with my horn air.
I noticed right away that I can't have my lips quite as tight as the trumpet. I have to leave them a little loose, which is funny because feels like a smaller mouthpiece than the...
It's smaller, and it has this, it's this tiny little mouthpiece, and that makes it to be kind of a treacherous instrument.
Yeah.
The partials are really close together, and you can hit anything.
Now, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I've heard from some singers that they're not supposed to play French horn because it messes with their voice, breathing, and air collection. Now, I would like to know if that's wrong, because I know Nathan Bowles played French horn, and he has a great voice. So I don't know. When my first time through here, I heard that French horn, you have to open up your chords a lot more, so it strains your voice, and then you can't sing. And it's like,
I've never had that trouble.
Okay.
Nor have I ever heard that.
Good, because I love the sound of French horn. So
never.
That's what people were telling me when I was first going through. I was like, okay.
Your throat should be so relaxed that it has nothing to do with your throat. I mean, you're not like singing multiphonics or anything weird, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
So, I don't know. It was just they talked about the muscles in the throat with the larynx, and saying that you need to be like set in this position, and what happens is it screws up this position. And
it wouldn't be any different that way than playing any other brass instrument.
Okay.
And I've never even heard of that, so.
Cool.
Okay, so let's play some notes on the horn. So one of the trickiest things is finding what note you're on.
Yeah.
And especially since, so it'll be a fifth lower or fourth lower from trumpet, right? So, hand position always has to be right. It affects pitch. Your hand position affects pitch, and it affects tone quality. It affects almost everything. Like if you have it in too far, you're going to be too muffled. It's just going to make a different sound. So, right in there. Okay. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Close it off a little bit. I want you to feel how important the hand is. So try moving your hand around and feel the difference. Yeah, and that even changed the pitch a whole half step. And then if you even just put it in further, it really muffles.
Yeah, the tone.
And the tone quality totally changes.
Yep.
So when you're teaching younger kids or even high school kids, a lot of them don't know what to do with their hand. And you need to have flat fingers, and your fingernails need to touch the edge. And that's how you know how far in to go, until your knuckles hit. If you have a really big or meaty hand, it needs to be out further.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think my hand touching these
that'll be
fine.
And if you have... And you'll get kids with smaller hands that need to go a little further, and you'll get, a farm kid who's been working with hay, and he needs to pull it out.
Well, I've done back in high school, I used to be able to do the basketball Michael Jordan trick where you could grab the ball off the bounce. And so I've got a little bigger hands.
I can't do that. But
that was one of the things I excelled at was I could get up high enough to dunk it, but because I could palm the ball, then I could really slam it down, and no one else really could palm it.
Oh my god, I love it. Okay, so this is a G that we're playing. Ready? Rest, blow it out, and then we're gonna inhale and play another whole note. Ready?
It sounds so much easier to there's so much much less tension in the lips. I
Until
like
you
it.
play high.
Yeah, I can
This
understand
is-
that, but they just.
This is second line G. Oh, I don't know. What, it doesn't matter. Second line G. 2. Rest. 2. Breathe. Rest. 2. Feel your air filling up the instrument. Yeah. Nice.
It just feels so relaxed compared
Yeah.
to the trumpet there. I've messed with these a little bit, but I've never actually like known how exactly to play it.
Okay.
And then again, composing, I love the sound of it. Like when you played last semester, what was the song we did? There was a thing where you did that, and
Yeah.
it was with the choir, one of our
Cool. That
things,
that
but-
was a cool piece. I
Yeah.
love doing that. Okay, so one of the tricky things, especially when you get kids that start on a single F horn, is that C, E, and G are all open.
Okay.
So we're gonna go from G to E to C. And they're all gonna be open. Yeah, and being a trumpet player, the lower notes you're gonna have trouble with.
Yep.
They're just
I can feel that.
and that's just middle C. That's some of the books I have a hard time with the books because they mostly start on middle C. And as a 5th grader, when I started, I could play 3rd space C pretty easily, but I couldn't get down to that middle C for the life of me. And it was just a matter of, it's like this relaxing thing. And it has to do with opening your jaw, but also just practicing it.
Mhm.
So, C or G, E, C. And see if you can go any lower. Just bend the note low. Because the horn has 2 octaves below that.
Really?
Yeah. Here's another G. That's the fundamental.
That would be a little tricky for me.
I know, but I want you to know the range. Yeah, open the back of it. This might be, say, there you go. There you go.
Really, like I feel like I'm not even touching the mouthpiece at that point.
So just like on trumpet, we talked about you put more upper lip in, and I put the lower lip out and set my mouthpiece in it for those lower notes. It's called Einsatz. It's a different embouchure.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of go from that and then slowly bring it in so it's not like there's not a break. It's just a kind of continuous shift so that when you're playing high, you're not in that at all.
Gotcha.
Yeah? Okay. So some of the struggles of a horn player. Let's go up. So let's start on middle C, if you can. And so C, and we alternate first finger and open. C, D, E, F, G.
That's it?
That's it.
Oh.
And back down. Yeah. A's and B's are the same as they are on trumpet. The reason we went to G in particular is because below G sharp, we generally play on the F horn. This is not a rule at all. You generally play on the F horn. Above it, you throw down the valve and play on the B flat horn. So that's the thumb valve.
Okay.
The thumb valve switches from these outside slides to the inside slides, which are considerably smaller.
So that would be for
So
higher, or that's both
that's
for
for-
low and high?
it's both.
Okay.
And some of the low notes are so nice and clean and clear on the B flat horn, and they're just kind of woofy on the F horn. And sometimes you need to play the higher notes on the F horn. But if you had to tell a student where to change, you switch on G sharp. So you play from G and then throw down your thumb for G sharp. Or you can play G on that B flat horn from it. Whatever. You can play those on F horn, and it's the same fingerings for those notes, for A and B and B flat, and it's the same as trumpet. And move your hand, it's kind of muffled. There you go. There you go. You got it?
Yeah.
That makes sense?
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit? Okay. Just to show you the harmonic series on the horn, I want a quick, and we kind of did this a little bit with the trumpet, right? Do you remember doing that?
Yeah, we did a little bit.
Let's see. I don't know if I have an actual music of it, but it's just to show you all of the notes that you can play. So throw down 2 and 3, and play the lowest note you can. Does the pinky help you anchor those? So look at.
I want to keep my pinky off just because I feel like I'm not really supporting it with it, but.
Oh, my pinkies they have extra calluses and all kinds of stuff.
Well, it's more like I'm like, oh, I want to hold it like this, and then all of a sudden, oh, bring the pinky in.
Well, it's just I think it's making your fingers less able to be.
Well, my hands are kind of weird. Like I can do the.
Well, oh, that's fine. I'm not.
But it's just
no,
like,
I'm just these valves are really close to these are. I mean, look how much further those are away. These are really close, and so I can put my fingers up and be like I'm playing piano, and those are like down here, and you're like, that's tricky. Well, that's okay.
It's a rental.
We won't be doing that forever. I'm just saying you're having trouble with it because of that. Play the lowest note you can with the fingering 2 and 3. No B flat horn, just open on the F. Okay, and then replay all of the notes possible with that. Okay, join me up here.
Yeah. Yeah, the higher notes feel more comfortable. Yeah, the lower notes I'm still working on.
The lower notes are crazy. Yeah, and it's like a totally different thing at all. Okay, so Hornbook 1. Did you have the score for these?
I have the full, complete conductor score.
So you should bring that, and we'll use it. I brought my horn book so that you can see what they look like. The horn ones are different than the trumpet ones.
It might be in my locker, but
it's okay.
On.
You can get it. Oh, let's go over this really quick. So yeah, mouthpiece. I love that they call this little thing is the mouthpiece receiver.
I don't think I've ever seen that in any other instrument.
Oh, that's funny. But obviously lead pipe, which they don't tell you. Thumb valve, 1, 2, and 3.
Just curious how many curves and arches are in this.
So the horn is a continuously conical instrument. And so all of the slides, they're
all the same size, and then
the slides are all the same size, but from the mouth pipe to the first curved branch is a continuous conical shape.
Mm-hmm.
The inner parts of it are all the same width as when you get to here, but then once you get past the valves, because it used to be a natural instrument, it's like if you take out the valves, then the whole thing is completely conical from the mouth branch over to all of this.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
And the valves are there just to change. It's when they first invented valves, they were using them as a crook change. So like you play in G and you hold down just 1 and 2. They had piston valves. Well, okay, so some of them, the French, which is why it's called the French horn, is they had piston valves, and they had a little tiny, a much smaller bell throat. Right here, that was much smaller, and the bell was smaller. And then they started, we can actually just change the note instead of playing it as if it were a crook. Do you know what I mean by crook? I'm just throwing out words that you don't know what I mean.
I've heard the phrase, but I don't think I've ever had it defined.
So what they would do is they would have a coupling thing on the mouth pipe, on the lead pipe, and it would just extend the tubing further to change it from a different key. So
yeah, so if it's longer, then it's going to be...
If it's longer, it'll be lower.
Lower, higher.
So this doesn't look like anything, but this is my C crook that I put in the mouth pipe of that trumpet. So that's in D when it has this in it, and it's in C when it has this one.
Okay.
So, and they did the same thing with a horn.
Kind of sounds like when people do that with PVC pipes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Very same. Okay. Does that make sense? Okay, so instead of using crooks, now they're like, oh, we can use valves, and that's about 1817 that they decided that. I mean, it's really not that long ago when it comes to the development of instruments, and those were still single F horns. The double horn wasn't invented until like, I want to say like 1860.
Well, I know, like, listening to some of the music that was written back then, it's like, how did these guys ever play that music and without any keys?
Well, they hand stopped. I'm not good at it, but see how you can move, and you could play a whole scale, and you can play half steps, and you can play whole steps, and they were happy with that. And like, the Mozart concertos are all written for natural instruments, but they have accidentals all over the place, and they go into different keys, but you don't change the horn, you just move your hand, and yeah. Okay, questions about these valve slides? Okay, one rule you have to know, you have to depress the valve before you move or pull out a valve slide. It ruins the compression inside, just like on a trumpet.
Okay.
It happens, it's kind of worse on a horn, but when you pull it out without doing that, it makes this big pop, and it's ruining the compression inside.
Okay.
So push the valve down before you pull the slide out.
Now, when you say ruins the compression, is that like, is it
the tightness,
warping the metal?
Yes.
Okay.
The air pressure that it takes to pull it out warps the metal, especially over time. Like doing it once won't hurt anything, but
well, I've been doing it wrong for years.
Well, and you get that a lot, especially with school instruments that have been kind of not taken care of properly for years. But so each one has its own. So when you're, and the same with the B flat slides, you have to push the thumb valve and that slide and that valve key.
Okay.
Yeah?
I don't know, this is the first time I've heard, like, well, I mean, you mentioned it last week, but as far as the compression stuff, no one ever mentioned that.
Well, you get these really fantastic old instruments, but the compression on the valves will have been ruined, and they'll have to have a new valve job where they take out. Okay, I'll just take these off and you can see. But they'll take out this entire set in here, and they'll have to either put a new thing in there, or they'll have to re-lathe it or something. Okay, so we have this off, so let's just talk about oil really quick. One of the places you oil the valve, is right in here. You put it right on that circle that turns in the middle.
I don't have one.
Yes, you do.
Oh, I was thinking about the hole.
Oh, well, It's just a different style.
All right.
But you put it right on there, on all four of them.
Okay.
Okay, that's the first place you oil the slides.
How often do you need to oil these ones?
Well, I personally oil mine once a week, but it doesn't have to be that often.
Because I noticed with trumpet especially, like it won't come up. The valves won't come up if you don't have them
You
oiled.
won't get
Where these
that.
ones, I feel like you won't have that problem.
Mm-mm. No, it doesn't work the same way. The second place to oil them is you pull out the first valve slide, dump the water out. Okay, and you put oil in it. Let me see if I have any oil here. Oh, I've got a little bit of oil.
Like in this or in that?
In here.
Really?
Yeah. Put a little bit of oil in there. Usually I just use straight up lamp oil. I'll tell you why.
You don't buy like special slide oil or?
Well, slide grease, yeah. But this is for oiling your valve. So there's oil in here, and you push the valve down, and you push it all the way in, and then dump it.
Oh.
Turn it over so that the oil goes from in here to into the valve. And then if you wiggle all of the valves, it kind of distributes through all of them because there's just oil wiggling around in there. See, they're connected with, you can see how they're connected.
Yeah, I see there's pipe there, pipe there.
And they're connected, you can
I always got ridiculed with my trumpet because everyone else would take the entire valve
I
out.
know.
And me, I would just put it in the slide.
It's exactly, it's the same thing.
I didn't see any problem with it. I'm like, oh, it's gonna ruin the grease you have, so the slide's not gonna come out. It's
So
like, well, I got
why
brute strength, I guess.
that's why we did it like that, so that it doesn't take your slide grease off.
Mm-hmm.
You push it all the way in so it doesn't wash slide grease down into the valve as well. The third place to oil your valves, on the back of the horn, there's a little crack right there, right here, between push the valve down and see which part moves. Yep, the top part that moves, between the top part and the fixed part, there's a little crack right there. Do you see what I mean? Here, there's a paper clip.
Looks like okay, I see that.
Yeah, there's a little crack right there, and that goes straight to the valve bearing, and you put a little bit of oil there. Now, when you have clacky valves like you have, you'll try to put a little bit heavier oil. I'm telling you all this because you're gonna find that in schools. Put a little heavier oil. I actually just seriously use sewing machine oil, and put a little heavier oil on your rotary valves. Generally, rotary valve oil is a little bit thicker than piston valve oil, but like I said, I always use lamp oil. Lamp oil is not thicker in any way. It's this nice, thin, fast oil. And it has kind of a detergent property to clean a bunch of goo out of the horn too.
Now, when you say clacky, does that mean like I need to add more oil to it?
Push the valve.
Because I hear the clackiness, but does that mean I need to add more oil or does that? Okay.
Heavier oil. Okay, so I say that, but also make sure that the valve isn't hitting this. Sometimes you'll get these weird sounds. Oh no, it's not hitting anything.
Far away from that.
Yeah, it's just valve noise. You just need some heavier oil.
I'm not used to the strings either.
Okay.
Now, could I use regular trumpet oil for this, or would I need?
You can.
I'm just wondering, like in the future in the classroom, do I need to have like all these different specific oils for different instruments, or can I just use one oil?
The trumpet oil is not going to hurt the horn in any way, unless you have old valves that need a thicker oil.
Okay.
And then use a thicker oil, and it's going to extend the life of it. But you're going to have a bunch of different oils anyway for all of your woodwind instruments. You know, to like key oil, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, although oil works for most of that stuff.
We've kind of talked about how you can fake it till you make it and stuff like that.
You can, as long as it's not, like sometimes certain oil can preserve an instrument, like I said, a thicker oil on this will preserve the valves until...
My biggest concern is the school I taught at, they had no money for the music department. And so if I wanted something, either came out of my pocket or for me, it was, I wrote and arranged music myself. So that way we didn't have to buy new music and stuff. And
that's cool.
That way it kept everything fine. Cause like the teachers are always like, oh, we had to like this piece costs $180 and we need to buy like so many copies, and it was like, how about I just write my own and go from there. But
that's not everyone can do that, but that's really great. It's really great. Okay, is this clear?
I think the only piece that's kind of, you can see there's a little dent there, I think, from the thumb hitting a little bit.
There's a lot often not good. This was a birthday present when I was in 7th grade.
Ooh.
And so yeah, there's the wear and tear is all mine.
Do you recommend a grip holder?
Not necessarily.
I know, like when I did string methods, there was the chin rest.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
which
that's
they definitely recommend, but then
shoulder rest.
I went to shoulder rest. When I went out to the schools, maybe one kid per class had one, and the teacher, she just kind of said, "Well, the parents are already having to buy these really expensive instruments. I don't want to make them buy anything else."
And that's true. The grip holder doesn't do anything.
Okay, just more of a personal preference.
It protects the horn from my hands, but
it doesn't give you like any extra, like.
Oh well,
tact.
no, yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
Not significant. My other horn doesn't have one. The one that I play all the time doesn't have one. And it doesn't have, you don't need it. When you have a lacquered instrument, you don't need it. The lacquer is protecting the instrument from your skin. But I have this happy coincidence that my skin is just perfectly acidic to not hurt the instrument. Like my other instrument is unlacquered. And so where the places that I've touched, the places that I touch all the time, so like right here and right here, are just polished. And the rest of the places are kind of like a dull color. It's weird, but some people's hands, like they'll be playing and they'll take their hand out and their hand will be green from the brass getting on their hand. And eventually over time you can wear, let's see, right here you can see it. You can wear like holes and stuff in the brass.
Yeah, I got a little bit there.
Yeah. They'll have to be patched or relacquered or something. But no, it doesn't matter at all. I think a shoulder rest is much, much more important. And did you go to the high school too? Because I think once they get to that
For strings?
Yeah.
No, it was just elementary. MSU is very much adequate. Like, I don't know if this was a Petrick thing or if this is actually like a program thing, but they prefer us to observe junior high and lower.
Oh, wow.
Because they don't, I did observe some high school a little bit, but they want us to be more introduced into
the
beginning parts. Yes.
That's okay. That's okay. I don't think I got a shoulder rest playing violin until I was a 6th or 7th grader. 7th grade maybe.
Well, some kids are so small that they don't really need it.
And some kids are so small. But often, like, it hits your collarbone in an uncomfortable way. I think that's most of it. And then you can't hold it. You're using your arm to hold it up rather than your, I don't know. Anyway, this isn't the same as that at all. This is a personal preference. It has nothing to do with, doesn't help anything.
Okay.
Except it protects the horn from my skin, which doesn't need protecting. The horn doesn't need protecting from me. It's for somebody else. It was a pretty thing and I was a 7th grader.
Gotcha.
So, yeah. Nothing to do with playing. Oh, okay, we gotta play. Okay, do you have any questions thus far? We're doing good?
I've already asked a few, so I think I'm okay.
Good. Okay, here we go. So, let's see. Cleaning. So, this is what I wanted to show you in particular. The whole thing for the horn will have 2 pages. One of them is in a better key for the horn, and one of them is in the key that the rest of the band is playing in. Being a 4th or a 5th off of everybody else makes it so that generally when you're playing with the rest of the band, you're in a key that's difficult. So instead of playing C, which can be tough, you're playing F, which can also, I mean, it just depends on what's difficult. And look how the F is either here or here, which is very low. Yeah. Okay, and actually I think the band ones might be easier for you because of they're less low, but they get high really fast for a 5th grader. 5th grader? Yeah, they start 5th grade.
Most of them, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's play. Where do you want to start? Let's start with,
Is there a finger chart?
yeah. It's the fingerings are the same as trumpet except for
E's a little different.
E is
F's the
different.
same. F sharp same.
When you get to the upper octave, it's different. So where are we? So C, D, and right now D is just one on the F side. E open, F1, G open, and then A should be thumb 1 and 2. Right, A is thumb 1 and 2. B natural is second, but B flat is first. Yeah.
Okay. So the T represents the thumb.
Thumb.
And now, since it shows both, is that
It's because you can play all of these notes on all of the on whatever. I'm just telling you ones with the ones that are preferable.
okay?
It comes out better. Especially for younger kids, starting to go up on the B flat horn is much easier. Some people advocate starting young kids on a single F, and some others, a whole other group, advocates starting it on a B flat horn, a single B flat, not a double because it's really heavy for little kids. I mean, I don't know. But the idea is the people that want you to start on a single F are concerned that you'll get the sound of a B flat horn and kind of play a little bit less open. And they want you to have the sound of the F horn. But the ones that want you to start on a B flat horn want you to start there because it's easier to get the pitch. There's not so many notes in a row that are just open or one.
Okay.
I can kind of go either way. I think you should just listen to recordings that are wonderful and play what you have. I started playing the horn because it was the instrument that was left in the basement.
Well, I was gifted.
Yeah.
with a trumpet.
Yeah.
It was from the
He gave
closet
you a
in my
trumpet.
grandparents' house, and that's why I started playing that. Which is funny because my sisters were gifted with the clarinet my mom played, and my dad played clarinet too. And then all of a sudden, because my uncle played trumpet, then I played trumpet.
Yep. Okay, is this clear? So when you go up the octave though, so you're on the thumb side, C, and then D is 1 and 2. Oh, I'm sorry.
2 and 3, or that one. Okay.
D is 1 and 2. C, D flat is 2 and 3. E is second. F is open. And G is open. And then A is 1 and 2, and B is second, and C is open. So it's when you go up the octave, it's a different thing, and when you go down an octave, it's a different thing too.
Okay, so kind of like the clarinet in a way.
A little bit. It's not that much different. Like it makes
It
sense.
looks like it's pretty similar.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go play. All of these fingering charts are in the conductor's score as well.
Yep.
Okay. So just paperclip the one for the horn. That's my biggest thing with the conductor's score is that it's hard to look at. Like, I mean, it's hard to find which page you're on. And I don't know. I would have a bunch of sticky tabs in mine. Let's start with this one. Okay, so how are you gonna?
1, right?
Yep.
Okay.
F. Well, let's see if you can find the pitch. That's gonna be the tricky one.
Right there.
Oh. Yep, you got it. Okay, here we go. We'll play it together. 2. Two, three. Try playing those last ones on the F horn. I just want you to feel what I mean when I talk about it being a little tricky. Try it on the F horn. It's the same fingerings. Yeah, and hear how it doesn't center in as fast. It's a little the beginning of the note's a little chippy.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's a little bit more, it's not as clear, it's a little bit woofy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
when you say playing on the F horn, what do you mean by that?
Oh, no thumb.
I wasn't using thumb.
Oh, no, on the F horn is no thumb, and on the B flat horn is with thumb.
Okay.
F horn, B flat horn.
Okay.
That's it.